I think our sound's back. Yep, we are back on now. Okay. So, hi everybody.
Alright, well, we don't get to redo the same glorious intro. That was just for me and JP. But I'm Swerb.
Yeah, I'm JP. So, we've had an interesting first 13 minutes as Willard starts his blind fight. Willard made a really nice move by picking up the shield. Help him with this blind fight. Unfortunately, he's not gonna get much from it for now. He'll get that mushroom. Gotta finish it off first. Makinx, what are you doing, Makinx? You don't have, did he get the glove and I did not see it?
Yeah, he has a glove in his inventory.
Oh, he must have found the glove in Skull Woods then? Yeah, he did. Okay, so we have our light world access. It was in Skull Woods.
Okay, well then I guess this isn't too bad of a a situation, because I was discussing earlier before we had audio that the shield was definitely a good call, but it could have been bad if he had to farm money for pod.
But Makinx finds silvers in the dam. That is an absolutely required item in Swordless.
Yeah, fighting Ganon in Swordless without silver arrows is technically doable. Excruciatingly hard, and even if you could pull it off, you're going to lose so much time, it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah, I think whenever it comes to Swordless, Andy made a good comment on it, that Swordless, Silverless Ganon is possible, but it takes so much time that it is more often than not better to just get the hint, leave, and come back with silvers. You'll still do it faster than you would Swordless, Silverless. So with getting light world access, that means this game is really wide open right now, and I mean that's good because that means I have a lot of places to check, but it's also bad because they have a lot of places to check, and progression could be about anywhere right now.
Yeah, we have Makinx down on the south side here, clearing that. Nice. Willard's gonna do a quick fake flippers here and go in and turn that mushroom.
Yeah, mushroom turn-in's a little tougher in inverted because you can't just flute there later, but there's still this portal that gets you right there.
Yeah, and I think that makes it a little bit more worthwhile to check, it being a little more buried behind item requirements to go do. This is also coming off of a save and quit, so we'll see if Willard decides to just reset, which he typically does, if it turns to be nothing important.
Yep, there's the reset. Makinx checking the inverted hint, essentially. Nobody goes over there unless it's inverted mode. Not really helpful, though.
Yeah, it just says some cache in Hookshot Cave. Which isn't useful in any way because there's 4 chests in Hookshot Cave. Like, it'd be nice if it was like, oh, there's, you know, cache over in Desert Cave or something where there's only 1 item. So you can just not check it. But that kind of information is just literally useless.
So Willard is going to skip the South Shore checks for now. Looks like he's going to start with Kakariko. Oh, that is a nice find. Red rupees from the Hoarder Crab today. So Willard's not going to have any trouble recouping those 500 rupees he spent.
Yeah, which would be a nice find right there too, because that he's got to go spend 100 to get that bottle merchant side. And then by the time he needs to spend any money on Pod or even Zora, he should be able to find some more of those 300 rupee pick.
Yeah. So, Willard's heading over towards Kakariko. He did pick up that piece of heart in the cave south of the Grove, which in a normal mode you might not see runners pick that up as much, but in hard mode, since you've only limited to 14 hearts max, you'll see runners pick up those much more often. I want to see Willard do another little trick here to grab the smith without the mitts.
Yeah, this is a nice little nuance to inverted logic. That's pretty cool, and it's super convenient to be able to do the smith like this. And then on Makinx's side, he went over and checked out the desert cave, which again, inverted, taking this trip over is a little more valuable than it is in normal mode, because you can just walk up here and go check the checkerboard cave. So there's actually 2 items for this trip. And actually able to check the ledge item as well.
And he has the mirror, so he can also get into Meyer's shed and check that.
Oh yeah, of course. So yeah, there's going to be another 2 items there.
And it's also worth noting that smith check that Willard did is in logic. That the gate inverted, you can be expected to have to do that.
Yeah, inverted is actually pretty interesting because there's all these minor changes that, you know, kind of by themselves individually, like in a vacuum, not that big of a deal, but all these things start to add up, because you have things like this where you can check all these items, like all these locations right here, normally require the Titan's mitts, but you don't need any of that. Like, you just need a mirror, essentially, and I guess a hammer for the peg cave there. But as a whole, that means Titan's mitts in general are not nearly as important of an item as they are.
Yep, in inverted mode, Titan's mitts are only needed for one location, and that is the King's Tomb. That is the only location you absolutely must have mitts for. So as a result, actually, you're never going to really see any hints about the mitts blocking anything, because the mitts really can't block anything. Because the hint system, the way it works is that a hint will apply to any mode.
Yeah, it'll apply to any mode, and then on top of that, it needs to be... It's generally like it's something that is solely locked by something else. So like as you said, like you need Titan's mitts in this mode to absolutely get to King's Tomb, which would make that apply, but since that doesn't apply to every mode, you will never see a Titan's mitts hint. And kind of so like, I guess like I worded that badly, but like it has to be like a location that is absolutely locked by an item.
Yeah, so if you're getting like a King's Tomb hint, it would be most likely a hint about the boots locking something.
Yeah, because you absolutely need the boots in every single mode to get it.
Anyway, we got Makinx finding Bombos. Now, Makinx did step into Meyer area, but I don't think he checked the medallion to get into Meyer. Yeah, we got Willard going into Thieves' Lion's hideout. He's carrying that chest with him. He's eventually going to go and turn that in, but he's holding on to that for a little bit.
Yeah, he's going to be holding on to that for probably a little while. He's going to take it all over the place. Really attached to that little lunchbox. Which actually, I was going to point out, I really like. Because this means he'll be able to go turn that in when he goes and does the south of the Light World stuff that Makinx has already done. So that's kind of one extra location he'll be able to group in with this routing. That if Makinx wants to turn in that purple chest, he's gonna have to make an additional trip down there for pretty much just that, and possibly the tablet down there if he finds the book.
And both runners are picking up their blue mail, or Makinx is about to. That's the highest mail they'll get in this mode, but it's extra protection for them.
Yeah, and in hard mode, as you said, you can only get up to blue mail. There are still 2 locations that have the mail in it, so there's a pretty good chance you'll find the blue mail. The other one just becomes like a 20 rupee.
So
yeah, it's definitely a sweet relief to find that blue mail in hard mode.
Yeah. So Willard is going to most likely go check the graveyard ledge, which you can access just straight through Light World. Interestingly, though, he doesn't have the cape, but I don't know if either runner checked Bumper Ledge. Because
yeah,
with the cape in the mirror, Bumper Ledge is in Logic.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't see if either of them opted to go check that. Willard might have, just because he started with the Skull Woods routing to get some bombs and stuff early on. And that's kind of on the way.
Chat says Bumper was a heart container, which, if you're Makinx, you might consider that. Just because, again, it's hard mode. And heart containers are a little more valuable. Now, Willard is literally taking this chest everywhere. He's dropping into the back of Escape with it now.
Yeah, he's gonna grab these 3 chests, and then he'll walk up and grab that Sanctuary chest. And then I imagine this is where the journey's gonna end. Yo! There's Cane of Samaria.
Now, Cane of Samaria is very interesting. Very interesting, because that opens up a lot of Turtle Rock. I mean, they already had access to laser... Wait, no, I'm wrong. Sorry, never mind. They still need Hookshot before that's... I think that could even be possible. Hookshot or Titan's Mitt.
Yeah, so what JP is alluding there. In Inverted, you can use the mirror to enter kind of the back entrances of Turtle Rock, either where the big chest is at, or Laser Bridge, by mirroring from the Light World to those locations. But to get there, you would either need Titan's Mitts or the hook shot.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Turtle Rock's not open quite yet, but once they find one of those 2 items, it will be. And they're only a fire rod away from being able to complete it.
Oh yeah, and that's Song Lee's very intelligently pointed out that Cane of Samaria does open up the fake powder glitch for Willard, considering he did save that mushroom.
Yeah, that's a good point. It'll be interesting to see if Willard goes back for it, though. He's already done the Smith and with the purple chest, he has less incentive to go back over there now.
That's true. Yeah, it's not a good enough reason for him to just go over there to check that one.
Yeah, at this point for Willard, since he's cleared out Light World and Dark World Village, I think the only reason he might even want to loop that in is if he finds the flutes. Alright. And I think now we're seeing the runners really go back over each other's steps for a little bit. I think we need to dive a dungeon at some point, because these overworld checks, they got Willard the Cane and there's a couple other items, but nothing really progression-wise. Unless something's in Mire. And if it was Bombos to get in.
Without boots or hookshot, they have no way.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. Never mind.
So even if Bombos is the medallion, they won't be able to make it past that first room just yet. So I'm thinking East Light World, or I guess Hyrule Castle check would be kind of the most desirable plays after they clear out each other's things that the other players already done.
Well, we did get a glimpse at the medallion. It is Bombos, so we have access to Mire once we get one of those 2 items. We'd still need also the lamp to be able to full clear it, though.
Definitely, and then in Swordless, even if normally in like a sword mode you're comfortable with dark rooms because you can kind of use that sword as a it becomes much harder to try to do things without a lamp in Swordless mode. Yeah, it looks like Makinx is working his way over towards east.
Yeah, you got Saharsla there. You can get some items from. You can check Eastern. You could also mirror and check Pod. So not a bad call. Or he's looks like maybe he's gonna go over to the pyramid. I could see him also checking pyramid and then doing all of the front of escape and uncle, all that.
Yeah, it's kind of a roundabout route to take up here. But definitely checking at the very least uncle in this item, and hopefully mirroring over and to pyramid and grabbing that bottle of the potion in would definitely be a good call.
Yeah, with that bottle, I think Willard was able to check Sick Kid while he was in Kakariko. I don't think Sick Kid had anything of importance though.
No, but as you mentioned, like if he does go over to Eastern, he could mirror over and check Pod. And if he has that bottle in hand, he'd be able to do the potion glitch. If it comes to that. Some nice use of the cane there to beat up those mold arms on Willard's side.
So Makinx is going to go into the front of escape. We'll get some new checks there. Willard's still retracing some of Makinx's steps. So we're going to have some items in the front of escape here. We haven't seen the key yet, so we know Makinx will get the key at some point. And he could elect at that point, if he hasn't found the lamp, to go through the dark rooms to do all of Hyrule Castle in one swoop.
Oh, there it is. First chest. Is that small key?
Yep. That's the only chest that could really have been in Logic and... Oh, actually could have been in Dark Cross Maze too, but it can't be in any chest after the first one.
Yeah, ideal situation for players would have been that the Dark Sewers chest. But I like this play from Makinx, especially like with the mirror. It's a little unfortunate because he hasn't checked the back, right?
Yeah, Makinx hasn't been to the back yet.
Yeah, because yeah, he's found the small key and the map so far. And had he checked the back like Willard has, he would have known that neither of those were in the 4 chests that are in Escape or Sanctuary. So there's a pretty good chance he was going to find at least one, if not both.
Willard's doing some fake flipper checks. Doesn't have rupees for Zora unless he gets them here. Now, Willard did pick up a small shield there, but because he bought the big shields, you know, he doesn't change. But the shields are still in the pool, even though he bought one.
Yeah, now we have Makinx heading towards Eastern. And this is, like, the fact that he has mirror is why I really liked his decision to come up here. Oh, no, he hasn't turned in that mushroom. Alright, we're going to continue ignoring Eastern.
And it's looking more and more like that might be our play, because we still haven't found really anything. It's, Desert's locked by Book, Hair is locked by either the Mitts or the hook shot. Swamp, we need the flippers and the hook shot. Skullwoods is fire rod locked the rest of the way. Actually, we could go into Ice Palace, I suppose.
We could technically.
Oh no, but it's
we don't have flippers.
Yeah. We could step into Misery Mire too. Nope, never mind. Still no poke shutter boots.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Easterner Pod pretty much.
Yeah, and like obviously Makinx doesn't have the full knowledge that we do as commentators or as viewers, so I don't blame him for kind of being a little methodical here and checking all these things off. But things would have worked out really nicely if he, like I was gonna say, I liked him checking the front of the skip because he could just mirror out like he did, and then he could go elsewhere. But if he had head over to Eastern, gotten the Sahasral items, checked Eastern, and then maybe gone into Pod with that potion.
Ooh. But Willard's gonna fake flipper to ice. This is very, very interesting. This is a play. I'll give him that much. If he finds something in here, that could be a huge advantage.
A unique item is that Pyramid Fairy. So this is the really nice thing about Ice Palace in the newest version in V30 here, is that Ice Palace has 3 hints in it, which is actually really valuable, especially the earlier you come here, obviously the more valuable those hints can be.
Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky for Willard to clear out, but if he can do it and he finds something... I mean, that hint's nice, but Pyramid Fairy we're still a bit away from.
Yeah, and he did pick up a red potion from the waterfall. So as long as he can take down Cold Stare with his hammer and that red potion, this is definitely a good play.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about Sequence Breaking Ice Palace sometimes is that if flippers are your go mode item, then you're not going to find anything in here. So there's some risk to this. But it's also a pretty big reward if it pays off.
Yeah, for sure. And then, I mean, you kind of just hope that that doesn't be the case where flippers end up being your go mode item. But even then, coming in later, you have the chance of having like the Fire Rod, which makes Cold Stare a lot easier and faster, since it does Gold Sword damage, which is twice the damage a hammer does.
Now, Makinx is coming back to Kakariko. He didn't check Sick Kid because he didn't have the bottle at the time, so he's probably going to do that. And then he could go straight to Back of Escape after this, so this does make sense. Yeah, I mean, I think for Makinx, it really would benefit him to go to Eastern or Pod once he's done with these checks.
Yeah, for sure. As I mentioned a couple minutes ago, he doesn't have the full knowledge that we do, so I don't necessarily blame him for being this methodical. But at the same time, I do kind of have to blame the fact that he has the 3 guaranteed items at Sahasrahla, as well as at least 2 in Eastern, if not 3. Well, and with the potion glitch, a lot of access to Pod. So just in terms of the amount of items that he could get versus doing these one-off locations spread around.
Ooh, I think Willard was trying to set up a bomb jump there and messed up, and he's gonna need to go around the long way now. And actually with Eastern, you may only have 1 item in there if... Well, 1 item and logic in there, depending on the...
Logic.
The item.
Yeah, of course, because... Yeah, you could have an item in that last chest, which is after a couple dark... And I mentioned earlier that dark rooms without a sword are definitely much harder, but I still think those first 2 Eastern ones aren't that much of a chore in swordless. I'm fairly confident that both of these players could do that if they desire.
I think so far in Ice Palace, Willard's only found one item. I think with the key layout, it's not hookshot locked necessarily. And unfortunately, not really much. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna talk about the key logic. Yeah, no, if that extra small, because logic doesn't care that like if you would have to mirror or even restart, like save and quit and then come back with that key to be able to go right at that cross room.
Yeah.
So yeah, having that small key should put the rest of this in logic, I believe. Although I mean it's all out of logic without the flippers to begin with, but it's not hookshot locked, rather.
Yeah. Willard does use the Cane of Burner there. This is one of the rooms the Cane of Burner will work in, because logically you might need it to cross those spikes. Makinx is going for the Dark Cross chest. We'll have to see if he finds something. We won't fully know either if he does find something unless it pops up.
Ten arrows.
And so far for Willard, I think he's only come across one item in here. I think the last two items are in the big chest and on Cold Stair. I think the first item he found in here was just bombs.
Yeah, the very first Pangator room had bombs in.
I think Makinx is finally going to head over to Eastern.
Yeah, he's moseying on over there. This could be really weird. Yeah, if Ice Palace doesn't pay off for Willard at all, it's going to be really unfortunate for him, but again, like I don't really want to just drive this point in the ground, but the fact that Makinx put this side of the map off for so long also means that Willard might not be losing too much time for getting this out of the way. Or really maybe even any time, because Makinx will still have to clear out Ice Palace at some point.
Yeah. Well, that was the compass in the big chest, so we missed an item, but it's probably one of those items that was so insignificant we don't even consider it an item. Willard's trying to get maybe some health. I think he's got enough for Bombos.
Yeah, he's got... Bombos takes a quarter of your magic bar, so he's got enough.
So this is going to be a pretty tough fight on 6 hearts and blue mail, even with the hammer. He's got to be very careful. Makinx preparing to enter your pod.
So Willard's taking advantage of if you stop it or walk along the very top, those ice walls don't explode and can't hit you. Very useful sort of. Oh god.
Oh,
I was gonna mention those eyeballs still do 3 hearts of damage with the blue mail, so he was 1 hit away from just being ended if one walked into him. So that was good reaction there to switch over to his potion and use it.
But 1 more hit from those eyeballs will take him down. He's got to be very careful as he finishes up this. Oh, he missed a hammer shot that almost got him.
I was clenching a little bit there. That whiff.
Willard does clear out ice. Unfortunately, did not pay off at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's all dungeons, but it's also crystal, so coming here is gonna be a guarantee anyway. It's just, who knows, it could be a long time until we figure out whether that costs him or not, because as you mentioned earlier, like if flippers do end up being like the go mode item or something, and Makinx puts it all the way off until then, he'll make up a bunch of lost time there by being able to go mode Ice Palace.
Oh, that's hookshot, and that opens up a lot of Death Mountain. So it does look like coming to pod was the play.
And there's a cache in Super Bunny Cave hint. So we know that there's cache in Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave. And Makinx is gonna do the potion glitch here.
And Willard's gonna go do the front of escape, which for him has a bunch of items still. I think like 5 items, so this makes sense for him to do right now. But we know he's not gonna find much here.
So yeah, Makinx there, just using a potion while walking left in the hallway before that room causes the camera to become unlocked when you enter that room. And the way the game kind of calculates, like they have rooms like that where you have to kill every enemy in the room to unlock the door or something. And it basically just determines that by whether, you know, an enemy sprite is on screen or not. And so by basically tricking that red mimic off camera where you can't see it and then killing the other 2 or getting those off camera as well, the game goes, oh, okay, I guess you killed all the enemies, let's open the door. Which is a relatively recent discovery in this game, and is a very useful glitch in Randomizer because it allows you to full clear all of pod without the bow, other than making it to Helmasaur.
Yeah, there's sometimes is debate about whether that glitch is useful or not, because you have to double dip even if you use it. But I think most runners, more often than not, will just go ahead and use the glitch, especially if it works well with their routing.
Yeah, especially in a case like this, if you're gonna be able to check most of Eastern and like most of pod in one, and check Sahasra, like you can check a lot of items out of it, and that's kind of just kind of the rule with sequence breaking in general in this game is like sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's not. Like there's always a risk reward in there because you could end up finding nothing and wasting your time, or you can find something very useful, or at the very least, if you find something like progression related in here, that can help you deduce where, you know, the bow might be or the flippers might be if you find something in Ice Palace and fake flipper in there. So it does help give you that bigger picture of the seed.
Yeah, if you definitely if you find something in here, it can help out. You just have to remember, of course, as with all sequence breaks, about if you found something in here where it can't be, because if you're not experienced with dealing with sequence breaks, you could end up clearing more of the game than you have to.
And yeah, there is that risk of like, oh, I checked all of this dungeon because a sequence broke it, and then I could have ended up go moding it. But that's kind of a risk you take with almost all decisions in this game anyway.
I think Makinx is a little lost in this maze.
Yeah, we got some dark rooms on both players' sides.
And I think he kind of gave up. And he'll likely go back to his portal and head over to Eastern now.
And again, Willard making some use of the cane to kind of have some visual indication of like how and where he's moving along. But still, doing these dark rooms without a sword is much tougher.
We gotta be a little careful down here. But I think he's found the chest. Yep. Now I gotta think his next move is now going to be go over to Sahara Slun Pod and Eastern as well, because he doesn't have much else he can do right now.
Yeah, how do you feel about Makinx heading into Eastern right now?
I think I'm okay with it because he doesn't have flute. It's gonna be a little tougher to get back here. And he finds the lamp, which he can send right back into Pod now and go finish off that maze he had to skip out on.
That's perfect.
But that's a place where Willard can make up a little more time if he does Eastern first. So that does mean at a minimum, Makinx will be able to get 2 of the 3 items out of here, but he won't be able to finish it unless he finds the bow in here as well.
Let's see, actually, you know, in retrospect, the lamp being there makes a ton of sense. I guess it could have been like the flute or something since you just brought that up. But finding that hookshot in Pod didn't open up anything logically until we had access to Death Mountain.
Oh yeah, you're right. Even getting that hookshot, we did not have Death Mountain access technically yet.
Yeah, and then without flippers, which like, you know, the hookshot opens up location to Swamp Palace, but not without flippers, obviously, because you just can't even get in. And there's the powder, so fake powder, not really going to be irrelevant.
And that was all 3 items. Makinx is out. And he's going right back into Pod. Gonna get that one dark room he couldn't get to. And Willard is doing Pod first as well. So he's gonna have to deal with the dark rooms until he goes into Eastern and gets his lamp.
Yeah, definitely I can see Makinx wanting to square these away. It's a little unfortunate having to dive back in here. But now knowing that these are in logic, it's going to be hard to... You don't really want to ignore them, because who knows? There could be something nice here, and who knows when you'll come back. Oh, baby, look at that beautiful cone of light.
And when you've been dealing with dark rooms for quite a bit in the seed, you'll definitely have a bit of relief when you see that light. So kind of looking where we're at this point, we're not too far from a potential go mode. We still need some stuff. We need the bow, fire rod, flippers, the book, and we might need the boots.
That's a good point. We also need the book to get into desert.
Yep, we do need the book for desert. Yeah, we're only like maybe 4 or 5 items from go mode, and we're about to go up to Death Mountain, which... how many items are we looking at up here? Like 15 at least? Plus checks into Hera and Turtle Rock.
Yeah, there's just a plethora of items up here. It's gonna be... Yeah, it's gonna be a little insane. Because we have the 6 locations from Hookshot and Super Bunny. We know 2 of those were just gonna be cash, so those are kind of irrelevant. Because there's 1 cash in Super Bunny, 1 in Hookshot.
Yeah.
We'll be able to jump down. Or, well, I guess in Light World, yeah, we have another... What? 7... 8... 9... 10, 11, so there's like 70. We're looking at 20 plus items because you'll be able to mirror and check Mimic Cave really easily if you want. The back of Turtle Rock, as well as Hera, as you mentioned. We'll probably see Hera as an early choice. It is a pendant, but again, this is all dungeons, and it's a quick dungeon. And offers 2 more hints, so it's a pretty nice one to do.
Now, an option if Willard wants to do something different. By picking up that lamp and that hook shots, that also does put Meyer as fully completable. So that's an option if you want to shake things up, but it's still only 2 item locations compared to 20 up here.
Yeah, that... Listen, I know Willard will do some crazy stuff, but I would be absolutely baffled if he made that decision. The only reason I guess I could see anyone or him doing that would be the fact that he feels perhaps behind for going into Ice Palace early and getting nothing out of it. But yeah, especially without flute or anything, no boots, like that trip to Meyer takes a little while. And again, that's another pendant, and it's not the green pendant, so it doesn't really offer anything additional.
Nope, Makinx checks the hint up here. Was that... We've already seen that hint. It isn't uncommon in this for hints to get repeated, and I think Makinx just got a repeated hint.
Either way, the big chest hint for Swamp can be a fairly valuable one. Because sometimes if you find that big key in the back half of Swamp, it makes the return trip to the big chest a little annoying. So it's nice having that guarantee that you don't have to do it. But we really want to see that west side, the west wing of Swamp hint as well.
Alright, time for our Paradox Cave checks. Cash and a heart container. Ooh, interesting call by Willard to save and quit after getting that big key. Won't hurt him, because there was nothing else in pod. He got the lamp.
Yeah, and it's a nice little chunk of time to save. Especially with knowing that Death Mountain is available now, with its like 20 plus items. I think he's probably feeling pretty confident that this is where he wants. Yeah, got a nice bomb jump on Makinx's side there. If you just stand on that bottom left pixel and lay a bomb, boost yourself over here and save yourself a nice little trip.
Yeah, that also might have been a decision by Willard just because he might feel a little behind after that Ice Palace dip. And so he might take a few smaller gambles here just to try to make up a little time. I wouldn't even call them gambles, really, just smaller skips.
Yeah, I mean, the way I view every choice you make in this game could kind of be considered a gamble. Unless you have no choice, you have to make that decision. But in those terms, it's a very small risk at this point in the match. And he could be feeling behind, but realistically, he's not really behind at all. But he doesn't really know that. He could have, be assuming that Makinx made the choice to go to Pod and Eastern much earlier than he did. But there we go. A shield is in Ganon's tower. That's gonna be a game changer right there.
Meanwhile, Makinx can avoid the basement for now, heading upstairs. Hasn't seen either of them yet, though.
Yeah, at this point, he really wants to see the 2 items between either these 2 chests and there's a small key, and that's not good.
No, we don't have to do Saharsala now. The green pendant's nothing. Makinx is going to try to bomb jump, even though he has the hook shot. He's going to try to save himself a trip downstairs, but gets it nicely. Unfortunately, a compass means that there is something in the basement today.
Yeah, he could have hook shot into the chest, but I personally prefer doing that, what he did there. I think it's easier to bomb jump up, like, without falling down. Because technically you could, you know, carry the bomb and do the little circle around the big chest, but that's a little bit trickier.
Alright, here's the Muldrum fighting on Makinx's side. No issues there.
3 quick ones and he gets a green rupee and a blue pendant for his reward.
But Makinx has got a decision now. Will he go back in for the last item, or will he leave it behind? He's going back in. I kind of don't blame him for this. Like in normal mode, I might consider skipping it if you got like the mirror, so it's a little easier to get back up here. But in inverted, it can be a bit of a pain to climb all the way back and get to Hera. So I don't blame him at all for making this decision right now.
Yeah, for sure. The trip up to Hera is always a long one in inverted mode. There's no real shortcuts up here. And again, like with the way he's been playing pretty methodically, he's really checking off all the boxes he can. So I'm not too surprised by this move.
Alright, we're about to find out if this is going to pay off for Makinx. And we got a piece of
Oh my
hearts.
god, a piece of heart. But it was a full heart container.
Okay, I mean, in the hard mode you'll take that. You'll be a little less sad to see that because it is more health. But yeah, overall, not what he was looking for. Oh, he picked up the book at some point.
Yeah, I noticed that in the tracker, and I was hoping that you knew where it came from, because I certainly...
I completely missed that. But that's good, because he needs that for desert.
Like, for, like, the last, like, 2 minutes, I've just been like, man, hopefully JP knows where that book came. Maybe he'll bail me out.
I'm sure our tracker will probably post in chat here shortly where it was. No, tracker doesn't know either. Okay.
Oh man, it's a mystery.
Well, okay, maybe he got it in the pod dark room. That's what we might be thinking at this point.
Yeah, I guess it could have been that north dark chest, right? Because he opened that before he had, and that's something that Willard didn't do.
Makinx coming in here to check Super Bunny Cave, go to the Hookshot Cave. Willard's doing a more traditional route through Turtle Rock. And then use the medallion to go in. But
yeah, I think he just wanted to check this one chest, and now he might go and mirror into the back? Or, no, he's still got Heritage. Dude. I don't know. Willard, he's a wild card, that guy.
He is going to Laser Bridge.
Yeah, okay, good. This makes sense.
Ooh. Okay, and there was a... So that's Boots access.
Yeah, I didn't even notice. I didn't see Willard pick it up. Or maybe I didn't, I just didn't think about it.
Ooh, and there's the bow.
And it's its favorite spot, I swear. This is the back part of Turtle Rock.
It was the bow. Was everything else a small key on that bridge?
I think it was 2 small keys because he had 1 small key from the first chest from the front side.
Okay. We see both runners doing a save and quit. I think they're both gonna go grab their boots. Yeah, I'm almost certain they're both gonna go pick up their boots right now. This is actually a bit of a nicer move for Makinx more than Willard, because Makinx can grab these boots and then go straight into Desert from here, which he can full clear, for sure.
That's true. I still would have liked to see Makinx do a little bit of Turtle Rock as well, at least to get that bow. With inverted mode, yeah, being able to just skip right to that laser bridge where there's 4 items right there makes that a pretty desirable place to check.
But at the same time, for Makinx, he can grab these boots, and then he can do Desert, and then he can mirror right over and do Maya right afterwards. So there's 2 dungeons he can clear out.
But that's like another thing that bow would have been really nice for. Swordless Vitreous is really not fun, particularly without the bow.
What is Willard thinking? Oh, that's right. This is another thing Makinx can route in too. This makes it even nicer. Like if Willard's doing boot spots.
Ooh, another full heart container. Alright, so yeah, sitting up here now at 10 hearts of blue mail. You're not feeling nearly as scared.
Willard's gonna give us a peek into the lumberjacks, see if we need to go kill Aga sooner. Oh! That's a fire rod.
Nice, okay. This could actually be... Huh. This could be interesting. We'll see when Makinx decides to go check that. That's obviously extremely valuable knowledge. And it's now, like, I honestly have no idea how to feel about the routing, this minute routing difference, because that does mean Makinx could potentially get that before even going into Turtle Rock. And so when he goes up there, he could end up just clearing the whole thing to kill Trinex and get that.
Okay, I see. I was wondering what Will was going to do, but I see what he's doing now. He's going to go clear Hera and then do Aga right afterwards.
Oh, that's smart. That's actually like a pretty convenient place for the fire rod in Inver. I mean, I guess it's a convenient place either way, because you're right next to Skullwoods, but he'll just be able to mirror over and go do Skullwoods.
So at this point, knowing where the fire rod is, I think we're only the flippers from no mode. So no bow we need is on Laser Bridge. Fire rod is at Lumberjack. We don't need anything else. We just need that bow.
We just need the flippers.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I don't. Maybe the bow helps you swim. I don't know. I'm not a very good swimmer. Which is, again, so we kind of went back to full circle talking about what if flippers are go mode. And that's looking like a very real possibility. which means that when Makinx does get to Ice Palace, he'll be able to make up a couple minutes of time over Willard by being able to go mode it.
Yeah, I think for Willard at this point, what he might want to hope is that Makinx doesn't check Lumberjack, but I gotta imagine after Desert and Mire, he'll probably do some boots checks unless he finds the flippers in one of these spots. But I think for Willard at this point, I mean, I think Makinx has a small advantage. But I think if Makinx finds those flippers before he finds the other items, that could lead him down some dangerous holes too.
Definitely, yeah. Finding the flippers right now or anytime soon could be, yeah, a huge red herring. Because with that hammer and hook shot and Bombos, both Swamp Palace and Ice Palace would be in logic and fully clearable.
So both runners finishing a dungeon about the same time. I expect Makinx will go Mirror and do Mire next. Willard is going to go check the basement, get his piece of heart. Alright, Makinx opening up Mire. Willard does his coffee break. He's actually probably grabbing coffee right now. I'm pretty sure he's got some brewing and he ran off and went to get it.
Yes, Willard takes the coffee break room very literal. He guzzled a whole pot while he was waiting for those tiles.
Alright, so Willard's done there. He's now going to dip into Aga Tower. Not much here. It's pretty standard climb. He will get one hint that might point him somewhere. Or...
changing his mind. Oh, he didn't check these. Just checking the item there. I feel like that's a understandable move. Kind of this late into seed.
Chat brought up an interesting point. There's a unique item in Pyramid Fairy.
Oh yeah, that could be flippers. Someone actually pointed that out in chat. I totally forgot about that a while ago. After when Willard was in Ice Palace, that it'd be ironic if flippers were in or at Pyramid Fairy with that hint in Ice Palace. There's a very good chance of that actually at this. I mean, we're missing a handful of unique items still. Have we seen the single area?
I don't think so.
So we'd be missing that, Quake, Flute, Net, all those possibilities. But even among those items, flippers would be the most likely just because we actually need those before we need any of those other items. So all of those could be in Ganon's Tower or something for all we know.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of those items could be in Ganon's Tower. A few of them probably are, so you can easily take those out of the pool. Yeah, there's a very good chance flippers are at Pyramid Fairy. Not a guarantee by any means, but... yeah. But only, of course, Willard has that hint. Makinx doesn't know about that. He hasn't been in Ice yet.
For the question in chat, Flute is not required in inverted mode. Pretty much ever, basically. I mean, so in inverted mode, the light world kind of behaves, or the dark world kind of behaves as the light world, and that counts as the flute. So you use the flute in the dark world You can kind of still fly to the same locations, but in the Dark World. And actually, to get to Mire, you can just walk to Desert and use the mirror, which is kind of, that's obviously the primary reason you need the flute in standard mode. So I guess like the only real occasion that can come up is if you need to get to the Mire area before you have Light World access.
And actually, just to kind of answer something in chat, that's not technically true. Flute can still be required to get to Death Mountain if the lamp's locked somewhere behind Death Mountain. So flute could still be required and inverted. It's just much less likely.
Oh yeah, for Death Mountain. I guess, yeah, because you wouldn't... You'd still need Light World access to activate flute. Okay, yeah. So now, yeah, that's the one time. I'm silly.
Well, let's take it on Aghanim.
Yeah, and not the absolute joke he is in swordless mode compared to normal mode, but it's still fairly easy when you have 9, 10 hearts and blue mail. Net makes them quite a bit easier too, but actually reflecting the balls back at him with just the hammer is a bit tricky until you've put in a good bit of practice.
We see Makinx doing bomb strats and Vitreous.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. The bow would be nice before. The bombs are useful because they do have that huge kind of AoE effect, but they don't do that much damage to the eyeballs, so this is going to be a slow fight, and you just got to be very careful because those eyes will still body him for a good 3-heart chunk or so.
Don't recall if Makinx grabbed a potion. I think he's got one.
He's doing a good job of locking them down when he gets on top of them.
Yeah, at this point, yeah, it is just a matter of just being very slow, very deliberate about his movements. You even see sometimes people pause buffer this to try to avoid the hits. You're still the worst.
A good clean fight. Now he just has to make sure not to mess up on this big eye 3 times, so he should be good to. Yeah, it was definitely a very clean fight, and overall fairly quick for no bet.
Yep. So Makinx is through his 5th dungeon, or 4th dungeon actually. Yeah. Willard's gonna go pick up his fire rod. What does Makinx do from here? But Makinx's best move at this point would be to check Lumberjack as he's checking the bonk rocks. Find out about the fire rod. Willard's got that. I gotta imagine he's gonna go straight over to Skull Woods from here.
Yep, and I believe we found both items in Skull Woods, so he can jet to the back and take out Mothula.
I think Makinx is going to make the play to at least bonk rocks. And if he goes up and checks Fire Rod, he's going to be in great shape. Or goes up and checks for that Fire Rod. Now the thing for Willard here is that if... We were talking about Flippers being a Pyramid Fairy. If they are, The thing is, Willard left behind the book in Pod. Now, he does have the bow, so it's a little bit more likely he'll head back there sooner rather than later. But he can't get into Pyramid Fairy until then. And he forgot he needs a key, so he has to go back and grab it.
Yeah, after clearing this out, I could see him... I mean, he could go back up to Turtle Rock and finish that out now, too, that he has the fire. But I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Eastern and Pod and cleared those out, which would net him that book, and then he could route down and do Desert and Mire, which would give him his second pyramid, like 5-6 crystal. So we got one here in Skullwoods, and then the other one was in Desert.
Makinx just found out about the fire rod. He's gonna go check the Bonk Rocks, and I think he'll be heading up to Aga Tower too. Or maybe not yet. Oh, he's got that powder. He's gonna go check the powder while he's here. Wood's got Mothula down. We'll see where he goes next. Makinx gonna throw the powder on the ferry here.
The reason he's leaving Fire Rod behind is to get to that item location. He needs to go defeat Aghanim. So he can't actually reach it. You could only see what was there.
And I see Chad talking a little bit, can something be on Ped? Not at this point. Ped's dead. There's nothing required that can be there.
Yeah, not only there's nothing. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing that could even be there that would even be useful in any way.
Like the one thing I could think of is the bug nets, because it makes some of the Aga fights a little easier, but it's not worth the time really.
Yeah, okay, I guess that's true. Like if you knew Bugnet was there or something, and like you happen to have all 3 pendants, and you still had to do Skullwoods, or like go into that area for some particular reason, I could see maybe grabbing it if it was Bugnet, because it does help Aga 2 quite a bit. But yeah, it's Pet is super dead. And then came back as a zombie and is dead again.
Now I think Willard is going to go for Turtle Rock next, which makes sense. He knows he can finish that right now. And there's still more items in there.
Yeah, he got the bow out of there. And then he got a small key for the first item up front, 2 small keys at Laser Bridge. And then I don't know what the 4th chest at Laser Bridge was. So he's only found 1, maybe 2 items there, leaving 3 more. And then obviously the crystal that he's gonna have to get from the boss anyway.
Willard's gonna go into Mimic Cave, check that, and then he'll go into Turtle Rock from here. At this point, we're running out of locations to check, so I feel like those clippers are either Turtle Rock or Pyramid Fairy, and the more we go, the more and more I do feel like it's Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, I would be extremely surprised if it doesn't end up being a Pyramid Fairy at this point. Okay, he didn't get the map or compass, so he does have 2 items from here. 3 more to find. Plus the big key. Although it would be really funny if the flippers don't end up being a pyramid somehow. It'd be the Great Bamboo of 2018.
And Willard's singing a little bit in his own place right now. I'm pretty sure he always sings whenever he gets transformed into a bunny.
I am evil Homer. I am evil Homer.
Pretty much that right there. Willard's doing some swag strats, and ooh, that hurts. He's got to be very careful, down to 1 heart. Which isn't insignificant, because that means he's gonna have to be more careful when doing the bridge. Yeah, he knows he needs a heart.
Well, as long as he can get to these 2 chests over here on the right safely, he can just take a death and head back.
The thing is, though, because he's down to 1 heart, I think there is a heart in this room. But
yeah, there's a heart
and... Okay, yeah. You need to make sure you're at least at 2 hearts so you can drop down this pit and do this the fast way. Oh!
Or...
He... Okay.
I think he may have confused himself. Because normally you don't necessarily do the torches in that order.
Yeah, he's being very careful going through this. He doesn't want to take that death.
Alright, now he's got his keys.
And we got Makinx with some bees. And Makinx is going to pick up his fire rod. I think he'll make the same play as Willard, go finish off Skullwoods. And then he needs to go to Turtle Rock right away.
Sir Zelda asking, who has the advantage right now? Honestly, I think this is like too close to really favor either player or the other at the moment.
Yeah,
it's actually really interesting things of how things have played out.
I feel like Makinx has a slight advantage, but it's very, very small.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on what Makinx does here, I think. Like, if after Skullwoods... Oh, he's going to check the pedestal. That makes sense from his perspective. Alright, here you go, chat. We're going to find out. It's just a little piece of love.
Yeah. For Willard at this point, the big thing is how long that book eludes him.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like interesting how things have played out here, because both players are missing those flippers, and then Willard is missing that book, which he absolutely needs and knows he's going to need, and Makinx is missing that bow. So even with, you know, knowing that there's a unique item at Pyramid, both players still know that there's another unique, like, even if that is one of those 2 items, there's still something at large. So honestly, it's really going to come down to how long Willard finds that, or how long it takes Willard to find that bow.
Well, it's also worth remembering, Willard only has the hints on Pyramid Fairy since that was an ice palace.
Yes. That's a good point. And one I should have pointed out. Which actually... Oh, so... Not only is it really important, okay, how long the bow eludes, or the book eludes Willard, which honestly I don't think is going to be much longer. I think there's a very good chance that he's going to Eastern and Pod after this. But, assuming that the flippers are indeed that unique item at Pyramid Fairy, Makinx will be able to check that after he gets the other red crystal from Skullwoods here. Meaning
Go
he
ahead,
actually
sorry.
could be in a very bad position because there's a good chance he'll go do that right after this. And then he'll find the flippers, and that opens up all of Ice Palace and all of Swamp for him, which are dead ends.
Yeah. For Makinx, finding the flippers would be big, but he would need to do Turtle Rock first, which, as you mentioned before, would make more sense to do Turtle Rock first because you can jump right to Laser Bridge and get 4 checks out of the way right away.
Yeah, so it's gonna be this kind of decision here. I think I would like to think that Turtle Rock makes more sense, even given his perspective, but I'm not totally confident on that. That Pyramid Fairy check is not like it's. I don't know. It's not that long. It can be quick, and he's got the 2 crystals.
Well, he's doing a save and quit. Let's see where he goes. Oh, this is good for him. He's going to Dark Mountain. I think he's going to go play for Turtle Rock.
Okay, yeah, so then we definitely have a competition on our hands, because we do have Willard heading into East, so he's going to clear that out with his bow, then he'll flip over, do Pod, clear that out, get his book, which will open up the way to Desert, and then his access to that Pyramid Fairy. And then meanwhile, Makinx looks like he's going to go to Turtle Rock, get his bow, clear that out, and then he'll have his access to the Pyramid Fairy, and he'll be able to scoot on right over to do Eastern.
So yeah, I mean, looking at where they're at, I still do like Makinx's position a little more, but like, again, it's so close that I really can't call it either way right now. Yeah, and Makinx is about to pick up his bow.
Nice hook speed through that big chest room on Willard there. Getting his 3rd item here, so he knows he doesn't need to go check that last small chest.
And okay, he's leaving. Makinx is leaving through this door. Doesn't necessarily mean much yet. Yeah, I think he's just gonna come around to a higher door to check the rest of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, he could have gone up and gone through the little platform maze backwards to check that small chest. But I think it makes more sense to just clear out Laser Bridge and then go do the... Or go in the Mimic Cave, too. That makes sense, actually. That makes more sense. And that's why he's in brackets. And I am not.
And don't sell yourself short there. Though I will say, at this level, for these runners, a lot of knowing these like little routing tricks is definitely important. Knowing when to, you know, how to route things so you check them in the most advantageous order possible.
Who has more crystals or pendants? Well, it looks like... Yeah, Willard just picked up his 6th?
Willard's got 6 done at this point.
Yeah, compared to Makinx's 5. But there's also a bigger picture to look at there than just the sheer number. I mean, Makinx is going through Turtle Rock, and that'll be his 6th. Which is really his last big dungeon. Willard's still got to go through Mire, which will take a little while. because he's got to hunt through that big key and then go kill Vitreous, which he does have the bow, so that'll be a faster fight for him. But after Turtle Rock, Makinx's remaining dungeons, Eastern and Pod, will both be very quick because he's already cleared all those out and gotten everything he's needed. So he'll be able to he'll be able to do what Willard is doing now and just head for the. And then when he gets to Ice Palace and Swamp Palace, he'll be able to just go mode those.
Oh, it's interesting that Willard's going straight for the boss. Hopefully, though, he comes back in after the boss and gets his book. Otherwise, that could be a disaster for him.
True. This makes slightly more. Because he's gonna have to kill the boss either way, and so on the off chance that he goes and kills Helmasaur and that's where the book is, he would save himself the check of going to the Dark Maze.
Yeah, definitely. It makes sense for sure.
So I think he's just kind of hoping that, you know, Helmasaur happens to have that one, as opposed to checking the Dark Maze, finding nothing, and then finding out Helmasaur has it.
I mean, also in Willard's mind, he's 2 items from go mode.
Oh yeah, he still needs the flippers, but again, he does have the hint that there's a unique item in the Pyramid Fairy, so I think he's, at this point, that that's going to be the flippers, because he knows he needs desert access to get there.
And with rapid fire strats, Willard takes Helmasaur down. So that's Willard's 7th dungeon done. We'll see if he goes back in, which I think he will.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if he did.
Yep, there he goes. All right. So Makinx got everything else in Turtle Rock. He'll be heading towards the back, towards Trinex.
And there's that book.
Yeah.
The mystery novel in the back.
Yeah, this is kind of starting to get interesting where these runners are. As I've been saying, it's just so close to call right now. And I honestly think Willard actually might be pulling ahead. But it's
no,
still so hard to tell.
I agree. I think Willard is slightly ahead. Like, once I started, like, really thinking about their situations, and I said it was kind of too close to call, I think Willard had the advantage even then. Like, especially, like, having that hint that there's a unique item in Pyramid Fairy, as long as he has that in the back of his mind.
Now, if flippers by some miracle are not a Pyramid Fairy, everything changes. But I don't even know where else they could be at that point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to think where they could even be. I can't think of a single location that hasn't really been checked by other player that could logically have them.
Now, Willard is probably going to full clear Desert and Mire since he's here. He's not going to do Desert. He's not going to... I don't think he's going to go mode Deserts, then dip out, check the Pyramid, then do Mire. I think he's going to full clear both and then go do it. Because it just makes more sense.
Yeah, I agree.
But then again, with that hint, It's got to be on his mind.
Yeah, I mean, this is when you get to the point of like having to make a tough decision, because kind of going over that, we have pointed out that there is still Quake, there's Flute, there's Net, there's a few other items that could be there, but even knowing that from Willard's perspective, the most likely item would still have to be Flippers. Because that's a pretty deeply buried item, which, you know, tends to make it more valuable. And that's, of the unique items available, that's the only one that's guaranteed to have to show up before Ganon's Tower.
And Chad asked about the tablets. Both tablets have been checked. Alright, Makinx doing a Spike Cave check.
It makes sense to check off that last Lumion location. And now he'll likely go check that Pyramid Fairy and then mosey on over to Eastern and Pod. So the interesting thing about the Pyramid Fairy and Inverted is you have to have the, which is also nice because it makes the trip guaranteed to be a fairly quick one. Oftentimes in standards you'll have to take the long way around because you won't have the Aghanim kill to warp to the Dark World.
Well, we're about to get our answer if this is it. As we said, this most likely has to be it because we don't know where else they could go.
Listen, if this is not...
Well, actually, sorry, there's one more thing it could be. It could be Mitz.
Okay, never mind. I take back what I was going to say.
I just thought of that. It could be Mitz to lead them to King's Tomb.
Leading to King's Tomb. That'd be funny.
And mitts in this context are considered a unique item. The gloves, even though there's two progressive gloves, they're both considered unique. But no, we're not going to get anything. It's not that convoluted. So at 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 30 seconds, Makinx is in go mode. And Willard probably not going to be too far behind. The big question for Willard right now is he going to go do Pyramid Fairy first, or is he going to go into Mire first? I think Makinx is actually going to grab some potions for safety.
Yeah, not a bad call to have the extra layer of safety. He's in go mode now, so he has the path to finishing clear in his mind. So he's already thinking about Ganon's Tower and Aghanim 2 and the Ganon fight.
At this point, it's just a matter of, can Makinx get through dungeons faster than it takes Willard to get his flippers? He's got Eastern and Pod, which are really quick. Ice he can do in go mode, which will save some time over Willard. And Swamp, both of them will do in go mode.
Yeah, so, I think Willard's slightly ahead. I think Willard can do Mire before Makinx can clear out Eastern, Pod, and Ice Palace.
Yeah. Unless Willard takes a death in here or something. If I cursed you, Willard, I'm sorry.
If JP cursed you, Willard, I am gonna laugh.
Alright, Makinx, he's going to go into Eastern. He can go straight to Armos. He's already been cleared out everything, same with Pod. Yeah, with Willard coming in here, he is going to do a full clear. The big key, I believe, was in the compass chest. So he doesn't necessarily have to do the cutscene chest, but beyond that, he's going to full clear. And yeah, I know some in chat are thinking maybe he'll check some other spots first, but Willard knows that there's a unique item at Pyramid Ferry. He's gonna go check it.
Yeah. Like, not only does he have the hint so that he knows there's a unique item there, assuming that he has that still in his mind. But as I'd pointed out in chat there, like, he does have, like, Ether tablet still open to him. I don't know what else he has, but, like, Ether, particularly in inverted mode, is pretty slow because you have to go around.
Yeah. He might also have Magic Bat. I don't think he checked that.
Oh. Yeah, he never made his way back there because it just never really made sense.
Yeah, assuming he remembers the Pyramid Ferry hints, that's going to be his first check.
I mean, even if he doesn't remember that, like, checking Pyramid Ferry for those two items takes less time than checking either of those other two locations individually.
But Willard's going for Vitreous. Now he's got the bow, which Makinx didn't have for this, so he potentially can do this a little faster, but it's still going to be a difficult fight. As Makinx has finished off Eastern, he's going into Pod to finish that. Willard should be fine on this Vitreous fight. He's got some potions, and he's got a full complement of bombs and arrows.
Yeah, for sure. He might want to save a few arrows just for Ganon's Tower. He'll be able to pick up at least one easy 5-arrow pickup in Swamp Palace. So it's not a huge concern. But he might want to have just a couple extra just in case there's an early Ganon's Tower big key or something. So he might not end up using all of them, but he'll definitely make this fight notably quicker than Makinx did.
Yeah, and Willard's going to start the same way as Makinx did, use those bomb strats.
Yeah, if you can get some nice damage in with some bomb. Again, they don't do too much damage to the eyeballs, especially compared to air. But if you can just get like a nice chunk of damage on most, like quite a few of them, he can save himself like at least, you know, like 1 arrow per eyeball really adds up.
Alright, as Willard's taking on Vitreous, Makinx has made it to Helmasaur. Willard's doing pretty well on this fight, taking a couple lightning bolts, but he's still more than enough health.
Yeah, and then he did save himself a few arrows. Like I said, he'll be able to pick up an easy 5. And going into Ganon's Tower with 8 arrows will be plenty fine for the Mimic Runes, because then he'll be able to pick up more arrows along his climb up for the Ganon fight.
Ooh, Makinx ran out of arrow, so he's going to have to use the hammer to finish off Helmasaur, which is very tough because of how the small that hitbox is. Okay, he's got it. He's out of arrows now, but he does have to go to Ice Palace, and he can pick up an arrow capacity upgrade there to refill if he needs it.
Yeah, that could definitely be a play worth considering. Take an extra little bit of time, but yeah, the capacity upgrades have been changed since previous versions, so they're once again at the Pond of Happiness or whatever it is, Spring of Happiness in the middle of Lake Hylia, where they are in the vanilla game. But you just simply buy them, so like 200 arrows, you can buy a +5 arrow capacity upgrade, and it fully refills, so...
So Willard buys both at the same time to refill his bombs. Costs a little more than he would at a normal shop, but it's also a little more convenient. And we see Makinx. I think he's going to do Swamp first, and then he's going to just dash over to Ice. Yeah, Willard's about to enter Go mode himself, and he's going to be a dungeon ahead of Makinx.
Yeah.
But this is still in... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was just gonna say, yeah, like a dungeon, half dungeon maybe of... it is Ice Palace, so it shouldn't be too long as Makinx can get that Swordless Bomb jump off without too much issue. But Willard should definitely be entering Ganon's Tower first. But it will be a small enough lead that routing could make all the difference there.
Yeah. Left versus right side could easily still decide who's ahead in this race. But for Makinx, he doesn't have to check anything here. He can go straight to Argus, which will save him a... Wait, what is he doing?
I think he forgot for a second. Hey man, I know that struggle. It's really easy, like you get in that muscle memory.
Yeah, that's true.
Because more often than not, like... I don't know, I remember way back in the day, you used to go mode this more often than you would actually have to full clear it, but that's not really the case anymore. So it can be really easy to just be like, alright, I'm gonna, you know, go down these stairs for a bomb. And then you kind of had that pause of, wait, what am I doing? I don't need to do this.
Yeah, and like right now, looking at how these runners are, the difference really is an Ice Palace at this point. A Go mode Ice Palace. The good news is, since they both had to kill Aga, once they're done with their last dungeon, they just go to the Light Worlds and save and quit, and they'll be right at Ganon's Tower. We do have menu boss coming up. So if any of you have not seen it, when Argus, if you don't have a sword when you face it, well, you get to have some fun with your menu.
Yeah, this is easily one of, if not my least favorite part of Swordless. Having to do this guaranteed every time is just... it's a chore.
Yeah, the good news is, since they have so many items in their menu, that switching between the hookshot and hammer doesn't take... Well, I mean, it still takes some time, but it's not as bad as, say, if you don't have a direct path between the two items in your menu.
Yeah. It's not any ugly menuing, and so Willard did pick up that easy 5-arrow pickup in the floor before, bring him up to 8 arrows, so he should be plenty confident going into Ganon's Tower. Makinx opted to just skip picking that up altogether, so he's definitely going to stop by the Capacity Ferry before or after Ice Palace to kind of refill his arrows there.
Makinx is almost done with Phase 1 Argus. Gonna just try to fire rod him to death. Cooked squid. Actually, that's not really a squid, that's more of a jellyfish.
Excuse me, that's a man of war.
I've heard of them, I just can't picture what they are.
It's a type of jellyfish, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Just being an idiot.
Oh, and apparently Argus has the bug net, so that'll make the Aggro fight a little easier. Yeah, with the last dungeon out of the way, Willard's going to be on his way to GT, so we're going to have to make this somewhat. Get your GT big key guesses in. 22 locations. Get in chat 1 to 15. Where you...
Alright, and then, as always, gotta ask, what is your guess, JP?
Well, I want to do 15, but unfortunately someone already took it, so I put 7 today. But I usually go 15. But yeah, Willard's in as he gets his Makinx goes in. Alright, first chest compass, second chest small key. Willard's gonna stay left, or stay right.
Nice bonk.
I didn't even see it, but somebody took my 7 too. Dang it.
Well, I'm gonna guess 15 for you. Especially now that I know it's not the first 2. Gotta, you know, skew the game towards the house.
Yeah. We're having a little trouble with these Gibdos. It's around them. Okay, chests 3 through 6. There's our, I think that's our 4th sword. Piece of heart. And there's the big key in chest 5.
Alright, so now Willard's gonna go grab this little small key under the pot here and make his way. That's really unfortunate for Makinx. Obviously, his best hope here was a late big, like a GT big key to hopefully help equalize things a little bit. But now, by the time Makinx even gets up to Guinness, Willard's gonna be mostly through it.
Yeah, Makinx's best hope was for a difference between the two, but yeah, unfortunately for him, unless Willard takes a death on the trip up, which is unlikely, it's Willard's race at this point to lose. As worth mentioning, this is only race 1 between these two. These were Willard's settings, as Willard loves the inverted swordless hard mode. And so, even with a loss here today, Makinx would not be out of it by any means. He still would have 2 races to try to come back. But we still have plenty to go, so let's, you know, anything could still happen on this climb. It's swordless hard. This is not a given climb by any means. Though Willard is making pretty good progress through it.
Oh, having some trouble with Gauntlet 4. That's really, honestly, just the most annoying one in general, but in Swordless, it can be quite difficult, especially like if one of those horsehead guys evade. It's really easy to get knocked around between those BMOS and the spikes and the moving floor. It just sucks.
Well, Makinx on Cold Stare, he let the puff split, so not gonna get any easy hits. but does have the fire rod advantage that Willard did not have in here. Of course, he's down to 3 hearts. One hit from those puffs will take him out. He's got to be very careful. Willard was also down to like 1 heart. He used a potion. He was down to 2 hearts actually, but yeah, Willard's through Land Molus too. Makinx still has to be very careful. I'm a little surprised he hasn't used a blue potion at this point.
Oh!
Oh no!
That's really unfortunate. That's pretty much gonna seal this 100%. He was doing a good job bobbing and weaving there. Yeah, you would have liked him to just use the potion, but I understand, like, he was probably like trying to save it for GT and Ganon, just being extra precautious there. But sometimes you just have to make that decision of like, I need to guarantee I survive now, and I can worry about that when I get there.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to use the potion, because if you really were that concerned, you just go grab another potion, and I mean, grabbing another potion would have cost less time than the death.
Yeah. And yeah, as you mentioned, he let the puffs get separated near the beginning of the fight, and that definitely will take a huge toll. Because if you can fire or kind of hammer them right at the start, and then try to get like a triple hit in that fire rod, it alleviates a lot of the headache with that fight in Swordless.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing to also remember about Inverted, not everyone knows this, but it's a good thing to remember. There is a shop that sells blue potions right by Ice Palace, actually. The Fortune Teller, Darkwood Fortune Teller house that's on the left side of Lake Hylia. In Inverted mode, they've changed it. It's normally a shop in Darkwood anyway. In Inverted mode, they changed it so it says blue potions, to ensure that logically, if you need magic, you can get it.
Whoa. Dropping a knowledge bomb. I did not know that, actually. That's actually really useful knowledge.
Yeah, definitely. So if you need blue potions before going into GT, there's an easy spot to grab them. Willard's through Moldorm 2. He's on his way to Aga. Makinx is heading back to Coldstair for a second attempt. And yep, we're gonna see some net strats. Ooh, 2 doubles to start.
Yeah, that's really nice. Like, you're pretty happy about. Oh, the triple double. You're pretty happy about that in a normal mode, like a sword mode, but like swordless triple double, you gotta be feeling good after that. Nice little confidence boost before the Ganon fight.
Yeah. And now it is time for Ganon, and Willard's got a really significant lead at this point. Would take a lot for Makinx to catch up, and it really is Willard's race to lose right now. He could fall several times, he'd be fine. And Ganon talking about his type of burrito as we start the fight. So you got to use hammer hits. The Ganon fight for Swordless has been fixed, so you can use hammer hits to damage Ganon. Normally you can't. And yeah, Willard's using his positioning to try to get extra hits off as quickly as he can.
Yeah, and this isn't the traditional top left position, but this is like a really nice one for Swordless mode, because you have that huge knockback from the hammer, and having that wall behind you.
And I think
helps you get back up there.
Willard at this point, he should be into phase 3. As Makinx grabs his last crystal, he's headed off to GT. Takes a fire bat hit, Willard does, but still in good shape.
Yeah, no big deal. That was a really quick and clean first 2 phases. And that's really how you can spot the difference between someone who's played a fair bit of Swordless and one that hasn't. Because I can speak from experience, having played very little Swordless before this tournament. Swordless Ganon is really it's a whole different ball game than Ganon with a sword.
No torch glitch for Willard, but I think he's got a blue potion if needed. He might not, actually, now I think about it. But no big deal with silvers, anyway.
Yeah, 2 doubles, really quick. Even if, I mean, he had plenty of magic for another 2 fire rod shots, and then lantern if, like, he really dropped. But that will do it for WillardJBradley.
Yeah, he crosses the bridge and finishes an official time of 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 55 seconds. And he takes game 1 of this best-of-3 series. Needs 1 more win to advance to the round of 16.
Yep, so these first few rounds in the brackets are best of 3, as you mentioned earlier, so we are going to see at least 1 more race between these 2 runners. And then that will be Makinx's choice. And then after that, if he wins there will be a 3rd tiebreaker race, and that will kind of be following the same kind of rules as the group stages for kind of a random settings.
And as Makinx stops, we can now inform you that he has forfeit from the race. Well, I can also mention, too, that Game 2 between these 2 runners will be tomorrow, I think at the exact same time. It will be Makinx's choice. I think it was All Dungeons Key Sand.
That's going to be an interesting choice.
I was pulling it up. Yeah, basically normal seed. All dungeons open randomized normal key sanity.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much key sanity in this tournament as a whole. And I know that's one that Willard isn't that big of a fan of. Oh, I mean, quite a few people don't seem to like key sanity. I'm in the minority there of enjoying it. So yeah, that could go either way. So that we could be seeing a game 3.
But we got both runners in the waiting room. Let's bring them in.
Like this mode.
I don't want to talk to them. Oh, I mean, hey, Willard.
Hey, guys. Me and Makinx were having a nice little chit chat, and you guys interrupted. What's up? No, I'm kidding. GG's.
GG's.
Yeah, good game to both of you. Like, I mentioned a little bit just a couple minutes ago in the IRC chat that it was a really interesting race to watch between the 2 of you.
Yeah, I hope so. Something interesting when it's inverted in general. Inverted is such a weird mode.
Yeah.
I have grown to absolutely despise the light world in inverted. Especially the overworld is just useless. There's just nothing good about it.
Especially in this one, yeah. I mean, there was nothing on the overworld. I think I did like 20 minutes of overworld checks, and I get nothing out of it.
Oh, you mean like in the light world overworld?
Yeah, like Kakariko, Lost Woods, North Light World into Back of Escape, and then South Shore.
Lost Woods had Bombos.
That's true, yeah.
Don't discredit it.
That's true.
As a
Just
whole,
about it.
Yeah, not too much interesting in the light world.
No. Which is something I've noticed with the few practice seeds I've done of this, that it tends to be... I had a seed exactly like this last night, where did a bunch of dumb stuff, got to the light world, did a bunch of light world for nothing, and then my next progression was in pod, and I should have just gone there early. And this time it was hookshot and book. I need to actually go back, because I don't know how I missed that bomb jump. That hammer jump. It looked lined up. I don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't paying super close attention. I saw you miss it, and I was like, kind of...
Yeah,
but I don't know why.
I did that in the dark, so I only found out I had the book out of the dark maze until much later.
Yeah, we actually didn't realize you had the book. You went to the Ether tab, like, wait, when did he get the book?
I noticed. Like I think
down there. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying, I think our tracker noticed it in your inventory before we did because I saw it on the tracker.
Really?
And then like 2 minutes like before you went there to check Ether, I was like, I saw the book on the tracker and I was like, where did that come from? And I was hoping JP would bail me out.
Yeah, it must have been the Dark Maze. That's what I figured.
That's the fun part about doing pod in the dark or just dark rooms with chests in them, like the sewer chest. You pick something, you're like, okay, I gotta look at my menu real quick. I don't see a difference, and then it's really easy to miss stuff that's on the bottom row a lot of times. Yeah. I think like mitts or boots or boots are not.
Well, yeah, I was checking for the mitts, and that's why I missed the book. I was just checking the start menu real quick. Didn't see the mitts, so I thought, nah, must have been nothing.
Yeah. Well, I'm particularly mad that the first hit in the game was about the boots, and how late it took to get those boots.
Yeah,
like at least an hour.
He's due for like an hour. That's good stuff.
You two actually picked up the boots at almost the exact same time.
Yeah, that was actually really weird. Actually, something I did want to ask about though, before we get before we get to there. Willard, you decided to fake Flipper to Ice Palace.
That was a mistake. Jeez. That was the worst decision I ever made this entire run. Because it was terrifying. 6 heart, fire rodless, swordless, cold stare. I had, thankfully, a red potion that I got from water walking in Waterfall Fairy Cave that I got from her, so that saved me. Because the problem was, what I'm more mad about is I had 3.5 hearts going into the fight, and I was like, all right, this is good. I can take more than one hit from cold stare. And then me, an intellectual, a dingus trying to farm hearts, took that half-heart damage, so I went in with basically 1-hit KO. And if I didn't realize, I was like overwhelmed. I was like, I am terrified right now. I do not want to be in this situation. And thankfully, I just got that red potion out and drank it before I died, and still took that damage. So it's like it was basically just like turning on the cape for 1 second, pretty much.
Yeah, just enough to save your life and then put you back into 1-hit KO mode.
Yeah, that was a terrible idea. Especially because I could have go moded it like Makinx did. So.
Yeah, that was it was a nice fight though. I applaud you for pausing, having those reaction times, and switching to that potion. Yeah, it was also ironic that that's where the unique item in Pyramid Fairy it was that led to.
Okay.
I was wondering that at the back of your mind throughout the race, because I was kind of.
Oh yeah, it was there because I was looking at my Pyramid Fairy crystals, like, all right, I need Fire Rod, and I need Book, and I need Boots probably, and so then once I started finding those things, it was like, all right, well, this could be Flippers, this could be Quake, this could be Flute, this could be Bugnet. Those were like the last few things it could have been, and I had like 4 overworld checks I had skipped: Catfish, Zora, Spiral Cave, and Bat Cave. And I was like, I'm just gonna hope and pray that this is what I need. And it was.
And then the one other thing I wanted to ask was kind of around the same time, because this is when the race actually started to really get interesting, and it's hard to tell. You guys were really close kind of the whole time, and it's kind of hard to tell who was in the lead, because while you were doing Makinx, you went over and did the front of Escape. Check that stuff out. You mirrored over. You grabbed the bottle from the pyramid ledge, and obviously you didn't have necessarily the knowledge that me and JP or the viewers had from seeing both of you play. But I was kind of hoping that you would take that potion and head over to Eastern, because you hadn't been there yet. So you would have had like Eastern Sahashala available to you, and then Pod with that potion glitch.
Yeah.
But you took a little while. Like you took your time kind of getting there, because you're like, well, I'm gonna go turn in this mushroom, check Catfish, and then you saved and quit and went over and turned in the bottle to the sick kid, which I don't blame you for kind of being methodical, but is there kind of like a reason you were like, oh, I'm gonna go take honestly quite a bit of time to check off these kind of far off one-off locations instead of going and getting several items that you were pretty much guaranteed on the eastern half of the map?
Yeah, I don't know. There were still many other checks left. I just decided to do Zora Catfish combo first, and hand in the mushroom, because I had that mushroom for a while off of Blind, I believe. So I decided to just go up instead of east towards pod and eastern. Also in the back of my mind, of course, didn't have the lamp at that point, didn't have the bow, so I would be double dipping 2 dungeons without being able to finish them. So I was really just hoping, before I went there, to find either one of those 2 items, the bow or the lamp, to put like more chests in there in the logic. Now it turns out the lamp was in eastern. Of course, that was unfortunate for me, because I didn't route that way. So that's really the reason why I did it so late.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's always like the great catch-22 of like randos. Well, do I go check out over these other locations and hope that I can turn this potential double dip into a single dip?
Yeah.
But you know, maybe those items or things leading to those items is over there, and I have to double dip anyway. And yeah, so it was just kind of like, yeah, you're doing that, and then Willard kind of had Ice Palace that you ended up co-moding, so that kind of, and then you guys kind of converged for a bit at that.
Yeah. Well, I was by the time I did Ice Palace, I was too far behind. I realized afterwards, of course, too far behind to still make a dent, and then the death to Coulter didn't help.
Yeah.
It could be a pretty rough fight.
Yeah, I just got careless. I mean, there was no reason for me to die. I mean, I had blue mail and 11 hearts. I had 2 blue potions. There was just no reason for me to die. I just got careless.
Yeah. That sucks. That's like, that and Vitreous are like the 2 worst places to die in this game. And Aga, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. Although my Vidi fight was pretty good in this one.
I have to go watch that. You said you didn't have bow for it, right?
Yeah, so it was hammer and bombs with the bomb strat.
Yeah, I actually complimented you on your Vidi fight, kind of. Obviously, it was going to be a bit slower without the bow, but you did a really good job of, like, you tossed out most of your bombs. I think you saved one, just to have
saved one, yeah.
For future routing stuff, but you did a really good job of kind of getting on top of the eyeballs and locking them down with the hammer there. Like, kind of looping around them, getting above them, and knocking them down.
It's a weird fight, because you kind of have to, like, lure, or, like, kite them around, or lure them to one direction and then switch, and then you can't like stand in one. If you stand in one spot for too long, then they all like come on at you right on top of your head.
Yeah, so you gotta keep
with the hammer.
Gotta keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, thinking about one more strategy I wanted to talk about. Willard, early on in the seed, before you went into face blind, you decided to go and buy a fire shield.
Yeah.
Want to talk a little bit about that?
I did it last night too. I don't know. Fire shield is, especially if you're going for like hammer blind, or especially for like if it's like an early Aga required seed, that fire shield can save you from a bit of damage, and it actually saved, helped me a little bit against blind as well. I thankfully also had that red potion. Was it really necessary? I mean, $500 for a fire shield is a lot, but the fire shield ended up being for me on Helmisar King, so that was the real one was a lot later. So I figured, you know what, I have money to spend. I can pick this up along the way, and if I need more money, I can go do the archery game for more. So it was just kind of one of those random things, like, you know what, I don't think anyone's ever done this before. Maybe today's the day someone does something dumb.
I thought. So go ahead, Sorb. I was actually just going to bring up what you said before about if nothing had been if something was in pod required to get to Light Worlds, that maybe that decision would hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for me at that point, after beating blind, was like, well, either I'm going to go up and check the rest of Skull Woods that I can, which means that if I need to go to pod next, I need to farm money. I have to walk all the way back through Village of Outcast down to archery game, which would have been kind of a time loss, and I was already feeling behind because I did a dumb right at the beginning of the game, because I went into Skull Woods, I checked a bit of it, and then I saved and I intentionally died, and then save and quit with only 1 bomb, like an idiot, because I was going to intentionally die, farm some more bombs, then save and quit to go check Hype Cave. So that was
that's what happened.
That was a dumb on my part, so I was already feeling a little behind, but it's inverted.
So, looking ahead to tomorrow, you guys have Game 2 scheduled. Willard can take the series with the win. Makinx needs to tie to stay alive. And as I was going to ask this, but I think we already got Willard's opinion. All dungeons key sanity. How are you guys feeling about that?
That's great.
It's a real good time if you're a viewer. Viewers love it.
Yeah, I only picked it because you hate it. That's the only reason.
The only reason I hate it, I don't hate it. I promise I don't hate it. The only reason I dislike it strongly, there we go, is the high probability of it being a castle tower key for go mode.
Yeah,
At
that
least
sucks.
In the last few that I've played, it's always been castle tower key number 2. So, but no, key sanity's wacky. I've actually kind of grown to enjoy the wackiness of it. I actually prefer it over inverted. This mode that we played today, I don't like it anymore. It's just, especially with that light world. So I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. Should be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Should be a good time.
All right. I think with that, we can probably start wrapping up. Any final thoughts from you guys on today's race?
Just good luck. Have fun tomorrow.
Yeah, same here.
And thank you guys for commentating and tracking. Appreciate it. And thanks out there, all y'all, for watching.
Yeah, thanks you for racing for us. If you guys enjoyed what these runners did today, the show they put on, make sure to give them a follow. I think we've posted their links in chats, so take a look. Also, can give a quick thanks to our tracker, MagicJade47, our restreamer, Lin, who had to deal with some unfortunate technical issues early on. Got through those nicely, though, and thanks for working behind the scenes to keep everything running. And, of course, thanks to Sword for joining me on commentary today.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, unfortunately, nobody got to hear those really nice words you said about me to start.
Yeah, dude, I had like a whole bit planned beyond that too, and it didn't work out. But that's all right. We'll save it for next time.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, I think we'll wrap up here today. As Root said, these racers will be racing again tomorrow, but the exact same time. Channel to be determined. We do have another race still coming up here tonight, though. In about a half hour from now, we will have In the Name of DT and Act the Boker racing. Act can advance to the round of 16 with a win. And DT's picking today's settings, which are Ganon Standard Uncle Assured Normal Key Sanity. So something a bit easier than these runners dealt with today. And then we're back on tomorrow right at 10:30 a.m. with Robert vs. Sonicam, channel to be determined. Yeah, with that, I think we'll wrap up. Everyone, thanks for joining us. Continue to watch some Rando and have a good day, night, or have a good time wherever you are.
All right. Thanks.